Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast, episode number 236. Today is March 24th. Tyler, tomorrow is opening day baseball. The Yankees are out in San Francisco getting ready to take on the San Francisco Giants for a three-game set for opening day in 2026. And here we are, my man. Here we are, listeners. We're about to talk some more Yankee baseball for an official other season. This is, I think, Tyler, this is our fourth or fifth season doing this pod. So
Let's
it's a
go.
continued journey, and it's very cool to be again talking about some Yankees baseball, not knowing what's down the road for the future of baseball. So I've said multiple times on this podcast that I'm savoring this. I'm savoring this opening day because you never know when it can go. You never know what can happen in the future. So man, I'm pumped for opening day. We're going to get a good matchup to start things off, Tyler. I know the Giants haven't necessarily
Mhm.
been the most exceptional team, but I think coming into this year, they have some really solid players, and it's going to be the first game on Netflix for baseball fans. So
It's pretty nuts. Yeah.
that's gonna drum up some conversation and certainly some level-headed takes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But man, how you feeling? How we doing for opening day? Just got back from Switzerland, so now you're all recharged from a little
Yep.
vacay, and now
Ready to
you're
roll,
ready for some
baby.
Yankees baseball and some nicer weather too. It's getting a
Yeah, dude.
slightly better.
Little ski trip to end the year, kind of put winter behind me. I did. I told you before we got on, Rob. I basically didn't even, I knew the season was starting, but I left on the 12th or the 13th, and I was like, oh, we still got a few weeks until baseball, and now it's like here.
It's always a
It's like our
shock.
this is like our first actual series preview almost. So I'm pumped. I never view the Giants as a pushover. Logan Webb is as legit as they come in terms of top end starting pitching. So I'm fired up. We had a relatively healthy spring too. I mean, all of the real injuries kind of came out in the winter. So knock on wood, I'm fired up about that. But I'm ready to roll, dude. I
Yeah.
am ready to absolutely watch some ball. I said to my girl this morning, I was like, I'm pumped to just have the Yankees on, and like
I'm
in
sure
the
both of
background
our
while I'm doing shit. And she goes, "Oh yeah, whoa!"
I was gonna say, I'm sure both of our significant others are absolutely thrilled. I was talking to my
Right?
girlfriend the other day, and I'm like, we got to fit in some of these shows, and she's like, "Oh God, baseball's coming back on for every night in the house that it's
Yeah,
gonna be playing." So that's and a lot of
6 days
listeners
a week,
probably
basically.
resonate with that sentiment. So a lot of stuff, just as the Yankees capped off their spring training yesterday, their last game against the Cubs. There was also some news in this past week about some shifting parts, a trade with Jorbit Vivas going over to the Nationals.
Or beat.
Some more news on the rotation. The Yankees are going to be opening with a four-man rotation just to start the year. I think this is people were freaking out that Luis Gil was going to potentially start in the minors. We haven't gotten a official word on it. I know Matt Blake was saying it to Brian Hoke the other day, but we've heard some roster moves. Oswaldo Cabrera being sent back to AAA. Jason Dominguez is starting in AAA, as we sort of had a hunch of as we were leading up
Hmm.
with these episodes. So it's not the craziest thing to have happen, but I know there's always conversation on Twitter. There's always conversation from Yankee fans. So we're going to get into it and talk about it more in detail because it's now official. And then, so we're going to talk about some roster storylines, preview the Giants series a little bit, also talk about some WBC stuff. I know there's a lot of noise around that from last time we spoke on this pod. So if you guys are new, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a rate and review, comment what's your kind of biggest thing going into the Yankee season, what you thought of some of their recent moves, and follow us on all channels and subscribe. We would really appreciate it before we begin this journey for 162 and another year of the
162,
pod.
baby.
Another year of the pod, because who knows how many more 162s we'll have. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully, I'm holding out hope.
We're getting baseball in 27, Rob. Manifest
I'm
it.
just nervous. I'm just nervous. All right. So let's start with the biggest roster news, I suppose I would say, for this team. So Oswaldo Cabrera sent back to AAA. Jason Dominguez also going to be starting in AAA, and Randall Grichuk gets an official roster spot on the big league team. My reaction to it, we talked about it very in detail. We talked about it with Nick last episode from when he was filling in, that Jason Dominguez starting in the minors was what the Yankees were kind of leading towards, as he gets more benefit not being he gets more benefit in AAA as opposed to being a fourth outfielder. He gets more at bats.
Mhm.
We were in favor of that. When it comes to Oswaldo Cabrera, I looked at it more as the Yankees. He's coming back from a significant injury, and I think he just needs more playing time. And it's somewhat of a rehab start and gradual increase. And then also Randall Grichuk is a right-handed bat. The Yankees have known that he's killed them for a long time, just being uh, around in the AL East
Yankee killer,
before.
baby.
He's a Yankee killer, and I think they always end up doing this, Tyler, where they'll have these names come around in the start of spring and that may make the major league roster at the time of opening day. And I'm just not paying it all that too much. Like I'm not paying it too much mind because Randall Grichuk could be here just for a cup of coffee. And he's one of those odd Yankees that we just say, hey, remember when Randall Grichuk wore the pinstripes?
Yeah. Remember when Jay
Or
Bruce played first base?
remember when Jay Bruce played first base? Or it can turn out that, hey, Randall Grichuk is actually giving us a little bit of spark to start the season and we could see
Mhm.
where he fits in. And so, yes, a lot of fans want to see Oswaldo Cabrera around on this team. He's a fan favorite. We get it. But he needs time to get back and feel more comfortable. Not only that, he's another left handed bat. So right now, I'm not freaking out about it, and I don't think Yankee fans should pay it too much mind because I think Oswaldo is going to play a role on this team at some point. And then when it goes to the Jason stuff, get him consistent at bats, and then hey, if there's an injury down the road or there's something that has to be addressed by poor play, then we'll talk about it then. But this is just the start, man.
Just a
162
start.
games.
It's just classic Yankee fans trying to complain about something for little to no reason. The Yankees have, to be fair, an exceptional amount of depth that I don't think they've had, Rob, while we have been potting
Hmm.
personally. Um, Jason Dominguez cannot yet play defense. He also cannot yet hit righty. Two of the main things they would virtually need him to do if he was going to take a Trent Grisham spot or B Cody Bellinger's spot, which is not going to happen. So I think Yankee fans that use logic and can read the tea leaves kind of knew Jason was going to be in AAA, knew Spencer was going to be in AAA. Um, I don't think. I mean, I think as soon as Randall Grichuk, got an invite to camp, it seemed like he was going to be that cheap right-handed bat that made the roster. Um, he's been around for a while. They have a bench full of veterans. Um, so I like it. I think there are ways, as you touched on, that Jason can finagle his way onto the 26 man, but just not going to happen right now unless Trent is really bad for a couple months or someone gets hurt. So that's what it is. I think appreciate the depth a little bit. Because if Jason was on the team, he'd just be on the bench, and the same people complaining that he's in the minors would be complaining that he's not getting everyday run. So
Hmm.
pick one, essentially. It's kind
Pick
of
a
where I'm at.
pick a lane, pick
Yeah,
a
pick
lane.
a
No,
lane.
and you just got to remember too. It's a little bit of a funky schedule to start the year, and it honestly moves into the conversation about Luis Heel and why he's starting in the minors. But I think that it's a
I don't
long
think they like
season.
Luis Seal that much either.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but we'll get into it. But I think that the Yankees know that this is a long season, and I'm not going to overreact for what their roster moves are to start the year, especially when it comes to Jason Dominguez. And you laid it out. I've been saying that his defense does not instill confidence in me, but then also he has a an inability really to hit consistently from the right side. So as long as those are two realities, they want him to get better, and I don't see any problem with it. And I think I was making the comparison that, or maybe not the best comparison, because the Yankees have a lot more depth at this moment, and he has competition when it comes to the outfield position. But it's something that they could have done with other prospects. Cough, cough. Anthony Volpe, that they
Mm-hmm.
never gave him time to have a little reset, have step back and be able to develop your skills and get better. And then when the time comes, which it will probably come, we know this is baseball, whether it be after this season, whether it be an in-season injury, hopefully not, but if it does happen, they need to have him at the ready, and I think it's the right move to make because, as I said, they didn't make it with players like Volpe, where they and granted, only until last year they got Jose Caballero to actually get some competition. We would have liked them to actually do it a little earlier,
Well, it was
but
Waldo before he
yeah,
broke
even
his ankle
Waldo
or
before
whatever.
you
Yeah.
could even made that argument. I know Oswald Peraza stunk, but even then it was just it wasn't there wasn't that urgency that we always talk about, or that wasn't that plan to allow Anthony Volpe to have the best road for success, which I don't think they did, just letting him out to kind of figure it out in the major league level. And that's what they can't do with if Jason Dominguez, if they want him to be the Martian or they want him to be a quality major leaguer. And even last year he showed some ability, and that's why I'm not
He can hit lefty
he
and
can
run the
hit
bases
lefty
very
and he
well.
could and that's why I'm not completely out on him. That's why I think there's some value to him on a Yankee roster. And that's why I think it's important. We have to remember that he's 23, 24 years old. Get him right in the minor leagues this year. Give him quality at bats every day, and let's take it from there. So, and then with
Yeah.
the Oswaldo stuff, I think he's going to be up on the major league roster before you know it, because they're gonna want him around, and just I think it's working his way back from that injury that was very significant out in I think it was Seattle last year. All right, let's talk about the Luis Heel thing. So Luis Heel, I think it was the report from Brian Hoke that the Yankees were considering optioning Luis Heel to the minor leagues. That came out on, I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, it came out on Sunday, and he's going to remain today, actually, or on Wednesday. He's going to be throwing live batting practice while the Yankees are in San Francisco. So we'll probably hear some news of, an official word on it. I would
Hmm.
say maybe today or tomorrow of what the route is for him. But like I said, the Yankee schedule is a little funky to start the year. They're starting with a four-man rotation, but they play tomorrow against San Francisco. Then they have an off day on Thursday. Then they play Friday. They play Saturday. Another off day on Sunday, and then
A
they head.
Sunday off day.
Yeah, I know. So they
I've
play
never heard of that.
so they play out in Seattle again. So we have some late night games to start, Tyler. I've already been sort of
Guess I'll be
conditioned.
asleep in the fourth inning.
I've somewhat been conditioned to it with these March Madness games, so I think it may actually have good timing. But I think with Luis Heel potentially starting in the minors, and with the Yankees running a four-man rotation of Fried, Schlittler, Warren, and Weathers, I do think there's a little bit of a hinted of truth when you're joking that they don't really like Luis Heel.
I
But
really don't think they do,
I
honestly.
think I think he's gonna again with what they're doing with Waldo, different situations, but I think the Yankees need pitching. I don't think it's I'm not bought into that they're going to be able to run a four-man rotation as long as they want. Like I think
No,
it's
absolutely not.
no,
But
it's a
I could see them grabbing Elmer Legrand over Heel if Heel stinks it up in the minors
okay.
for two turns through the rotation, you know?
I just think it's because they are seeing what they have in Warren and Weathers, and you
Hmm.
could say, hey, why are you playing favor to one a guy that in Weathers that hasn't stayed healthy, and then Warren of
I think
maybe he
Warren
has.
deserves it, though.
Yeah, but then you can make the argument on the other hand that Luis Heel has been around the block a little more. He's a rookie of the year, blah 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 blah. But I just think it's maybe funky scheduling to start the year, but then also I think he's going to be back before you know it also because you need pitching. And I don't
Hmm.
think that it it's odd
He's
to
not
hear
going to
it.
be in the minors the whole year.
No, no, no. I think it's going to be at most a couple weeks. That's my guess. I don't know if you
Yeah,
feel
I mean,
otherwise.
no, I think I agree with that because they're going to go to Heel before they'd go to a Yarborough or a Blackburn or something like that, regardless. And they probably would go to Heel before an Elmer or a Legrand call up as well. But I'm gonna be honest, like I very seldomly visit pitchers' Statcast pages, and I just did for Luis Heel, and it is like actually pretty alarming for what you look at. Um, So Statcast has like expected ERA, expected batting average, average exit velo, chase percentage, whiff percentage, K percentage. He is and to make this extremely, easy to understand. Blue means you're really bad in all these categories. Red means you're really good. So think Aaron Judge's StatCast page is all fucking red. And Luis Heel for 2025 percentile rankings, bottom 13% in expected ERA, bottom 25% in expected batting average, bottom 1% in chase percentage. So how often people are swinging and missing at his pitches, bottom 16% in average exit velocity, bottom 20 in whiff percentage, bottom 11 in K percentage, bottom 2% in how often he's walking people, bottom 30% in hard hit percentage, bottom 7% in ground ball percentage. So virtually they're hitting the ball high and hard against him, and he's walking people and they're not missing pitches as of last year. So I remember when if you look at his stats for last year, 123 ERA plus, 3.32 ERA, 11 games, 57 innings, you go, wow, pretty solid return from the lat injury. I don't know about you, Rob, but I specifically remember a number of Luis Heel starts looking a lot worse than what they ended up being.
Yeah.
Meaning like he walked six guys or the bases were loaded three straight innings and he, kind of got out of it type of thing. So like when I say the Yankees, I don't think they like Luis Heel. I think there's like a lot of legitimacy to like I do think he'll pitch again. I think if they could have, they would have rented Kyle Tucker last year for a year for Luis
Oh
Seal. Like
yeah,
I think they
they
would have redone shit like that. I think they would have shipped his ass anywhere else.
I was thinking of that when the whole off season was happening with Tucker. If you could turn back the clock, and a lot of fans were very high. He was a rookie of the year. He won rookie of
As
the
they
year.
should be. So if you go back to his like Statcast for 22, 23, 24, 25, it's beautiful. And then it gets to or 24, and then it gets to 25 and you're like, "Holy shit, what happened to this guy?" So,
Yeah,
just my nerd out right there.
but the Yankees are going to need him to start the season, and maybe it is. And I don't want to project until August because we have another 3, 4 months before that. Maybe he is. They're going to want to show him off. They're going to want to show off some of these pitchers if they do end up having to trade them, and then they need insurance while Rodon and Cole are getting back. And we heard
Yeah.
Cole was pitching against the Red Sox for that one inning, which was awesome to see that he's actually pitching in competitive games that we can watch on television. We'll see how Rodon's news goes along, but they do. While we've talked that they need at least 6, 7, 8 pitchers to make it through a season, maybe more, and they have Yarborough and they have Warren and they have Weathers, so they're still going to use Luis Heel,
Yeah.
but at some point they're going to have to fine tune who is going to be in this rotation. And because maybe it is because of
I
that
think
that
that's what I'm getting at is I don't think they view him as a rotation piece
and that's valid
at
because
this moment in time.
and but he can potentially change that,
Totally.
but
100%.
it 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 doesn't feel good for him clearly to start in the minors, but I think he's going to get his shot, and then we're going to have to see those advanced stats change, and we're going to have to see him not have the underwhelming starts. And I think he is. I will give him the benefit of the doubt that I think he is capable of it because he has
Done
some
it.
good stuff, and he has done it before. We did watch him in 2024 be an absolute great pitcher, but
Mm-hmm.
we got to see it again. So we'll see how he'll get back into. Maybe it's just for this West Coast trip, and then once they get back to play Miami, I think Will Warren will be starting. How it matches up. Will Warren would be starting on opening day at Yankee Stadium, so that's interesting. I would love it if Cam Schlittler was starting on opening day at Yankee Stadium. That would be pretty sweet. But I think Luis Heel will be back before you know it. It's just it was something that Yankee fans are saying, huh? They're scratching their head. What's going on there? So,
I think
uh,
he'll be back too. And
yeah,
listen, I don't mean to be like shitting on Luis Heel here. I'm just kind of portraying what I believe the Yankees view him as. And then listen, the Yankees are a better team when Luis Heel is rookie of the year type of pitcher. So I hope he is
that's not a
returns
bad
to that.
five. That's
Yeah.
not a bad five.
Not a
Uh,
bad five at all.
all right. I mentioned Jorbit Vivas traded to the Nationals for their 11th ranked pitching prospect, Sean Paul Linan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, but
Jean
uh,
Paul.
uh, Vivas, who we've seen on the major league level, is no longer with the Yankees, so he will be out with the Washington Nationals. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get some actual playing time with them, being that the Nationals are not good. So we'll see how they do have some young talent, but I don't think it's anything of note yet. But I
Besides
mentioned
James Wood, my third round pick.
I mentioned Garrett Cole made a spring start for 1 inning, pitches one scoreless inning, no strikeouts in that, but it was good. I mentioned it a little earlier that it was nice to see Garrett pitching, and he's looks.
Like a dad.
I want to see bearded Garrett too this year, which I think is very exciting because we remember the last
He's
Garrett
got the
Cole.
neck beard going and everything too
Would
right
you?
now.
I'm curious because now I'm thinking of Garrett Cole from. I guess we would have to look at the number specifically, but when you just maybe think about it on the surface level, bearded Garrett with the Astros versus 2023 Garrett, Cy Young Garrett. I know he was going up against his teammate in Verlander for that Cy Young too on
Mhm.
some of those. Do you think that Garrett with bearded Garrett in the with the Astros was better than the 2023 Garrett? I That's a tough.
Uh,
Garrett Cole from that age was
I
amazing.
mean, I will say that. What year was it? It was the 2019
I
season too. I mean,
think it
that's
was,
arguably one of the best pitching seasons.
or no, it was way
Um,
earlier than that. It was before COVID. Sorry, 2019, I think.
yeah, that I mean, I'm gonna pull now. Now I gotta pull up his page.
I love
I
how
mean,
we're
2023 he was unreal. I mean, he had a higher WAR in 2023, but he pitched. I mean, yeah, those seasons are closer than I thought, to be honest.
212 innings in
Two killers, that's all I
2019,
know.
209 in 2023.
It
ERA
just sucks because
was
2023 is such a wash.
mhm.
It's like it ultimately
Didn't
didn't mean anything, you know?
but now that I look at it a little more, it's more uh close than I realized that it
So did
was.
I.
I just remember him being an absolute
He's,
demon with the beard.
yeah.
So I was saying to myself, but
He's
going
striking out a
back,
lot more guys in 2019 per nine
yes,
innings.
yes, that's what I think. That's why it stands out a little bit more in my brain. But
And he
yeah,
just
because
dominated the Yankees
yeah,
in the
300,
postseason.
326 strikeouts in 2019 to 250, or sorry, 222 strikeouts. So
Dude,
that
that
just
is
an
nuts.
extra 100 strikeouts, 185 ERA plus in 2019 versus the 165 ERA plus. But he's still maybe, I don't know. What I'm very excited to see is Cole back, and then
Hmm.
maybe a little bearded Garrett Cole in that rotation for the Yankees. And I think they're going to probably ease him in anyway, but it'll be kind of fascinating to see how. I think I talked about it with Nick last episode that similar to how we saw maybe a Verlander get back eventually, where he underwent Tommy John, and then it's not unforeseen to have a pitcher, an elite level pitcher, undergo a serious surgery and then actually come back a year later or a year or two later and be at again another elite level. I don't want to put too high of an expectation on that happening, but it's going to be fascinating to see how he works himself back. And then if we do see a vintage Garrett Cole, a vintage 2023 Garrett Cole. And I don't think it's going to be all that surprising if we do see it because we have witnessed it from other teams. We've witnessed it in pitchers having that happen after they get back. Like, take, for instance, Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom had some serious injuries, a number of serious injuries, and then
Dude,
he back with
DeGrom was
Texas.
disgusting last
So
year too.
so this is not the craziest thing to happen if Garrett Cole may it take him some time and some starts. Obviously, it may not happen directly in 2026, but or to start 2026, it would be awesome if it happened in 2026. But I'm
Mhm.
just, you know what I'm getting at. That
Yeah,
it's
I
not going
don't.
to be the craziest thing if Garrett Cole just becomes elite Cole as the months go on.
No, I agree. I think there's a massive advantage to him pitching now. It's not like he's starting to ramp up in the middle of June. Like we're expecting a cautious end of May return. So I think what we've seen with a lot of these pitchers that undergo TJ or whatever is virtually what you just said, Rob, is like it. I don't think he's going to return to form instantly and be 2019, 2023 Garrett Cole, but I think like there's a real chance that in September you can see that version of him coming back to fruition
Sprinkle
type
it
of
on there
deal.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think like it's already pissed me off a little bit because I know Garrett's gonna have like a bad start or something dumb's gonna happen and people are just gonna shit all over him for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, dude, it's May 25th right now. Shut up.
Give him a break.
Um,
Cut him a break.
but yeah, dude, like DeGrom last year, 172 innings, 297 ERA. I mean, eighth in Cy Young voting, which is pretty impressive that he was eighth for how good the AL was in pitching last year.
When
But
you're that level of pitcher, because he is in that level of the Verlander. He hasn't had the World Series, but he's in the level of the Verlander. He's in the level of the DeGrom. He's that great of a pitcher. It's when you're that great of just an athlete or a player, you can return to that form given some time.
yeah, and then I think too, like at the end of the day, maybe this is just Yankee brain right here, but it is Garrett Cole. And I think if anything, we've seen this dude is like ridiculously obsessive in the preparation of things.
Hmm.
So if there's one dude I trust to, be in tune and be on top of his rehab and be at a spot where he feels he can compete at the highest level, it's him. So
Yeah.
I do have, high hopes for Cole this year. I don't think there's a world where he comes in and stinks it up. I think you might see a different version of Garrett Cole who, maybe is doing a little more pitching and painting rather than, high heaters and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm pumped for Cole to come back, man. I think we're in for a treat once the weather warms up and he gets like 10
Oh yeah.
starts under his belt.
Get a little a light bit of humidity, and we'll see.
Also, he won a World Series in 2019, right?
No, they lost that one to
Is that the
Soto.
Nationals?
Yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah.
thinking the year
God
before.
damn it.
Yeah.
So he won in 2018.
No, he never won. That's the year that he was traded. He has no World Series.
What do you mean? No, he pitched for the Astros in 2018.
I'm
Does
pretty
he
sure.
really not have a World Series?
No, he has no World Series because he got
So when did the
traded.
Astros win the World Series?
So he got traded to the at they
Oh, they
2017.
lost. Yeah, the 2018 they lost to the. Oh, that's when the Sox won. Yeah, so they
Yeah,
didn't
oh
win that.
sorry, yeah.
In
So
2019 they didn't win, huh?
2017 they won, and then 2021 they won, I
That's a
believe.
bad
Or
moment by me. I should have known that.
I know our baseball history is we're already in 2026. We're forgetting
Isn't
history
that
pretty
nuts?
fast.
Like 2019.
So let's talk about some other roster storylines with this team. We talked how the pitching rotation will come into form when Rodon and Cole get back. It's going to be fascinating to see. Oh, is it okay? Like Fried, Cole, Rodon. Then you got Schlittler. But then, hey, what happens if Ryan
I'm gonna
Weathers
be
pitches really
I'm gonna
well,
be dreaming on LeGrand all year and
or
over.
Will Warren? Yeah, no, we talked about that last episode. It's
I'm
smart that
staying.
they're starting him in the minor. Yesterday
Yeah, they
he had,
should. They
yeah,
absolutely should.
yesterday he had a bit of an ugly blow up start, but
Yeah,
that's okay. He's
8 runs or something.
working things out. Yeah, exactly. But we've talked about it a lot, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. But there hasn't been Volpe is still working his way back, but I think to start the year we're going to see Jose Caballero playing shortstop every day. Uh, and we'll see exactly when Volpe makes his way back. But I said it in multiple episodes over the offseason. I think a lot of other Yankee fans are thinking it. Even if you're just still an Anthony Volpe supporter and you want to see him do well, I think just that we want better play at shortstop is one thing, but also just the value that comes from competition at that position where it hasn't even been allowed for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
want
word.
Jose Caballero. Yeah, it wasn't allowed. So I want Jose
Not
Caballero.
allowed.
I'm not putting any money down on it. I'm not having any lofty expectations for him. But man, I just want to see him steal a couple bags, play good defense, poke a homer here and there, and
Mhm.
just give the Yankees some good fundamental baseball at positions where they need it to be. And so we'll see if Volpe, whenever he works his way back, and that's a conversation for weeks down the road of then how they approach it, if Jose Caballero is playing well or not. But I would really like him to play well because we want to see just another element to this team that can support them in October. And I think Jose Caballero can do that. And we'll see how it shapes out. But that's going to be the conversation for, I would say, into April and May. So we'll see how that shakes out. But
Yeah,
What are you thinking?
hopefully he puts pressure on the Yankees to make a decision. I mean, that's kind of what I'm rooting for, right? Like if Cabby is the Cabby um that played for the Yankees the second he got traded over here last year, if he's that version of himself for 2 months, I mean, the Yanks have like an actual decision to make on their hands. Now, if Caballero is not, and he's more, plays the back of his baseball card, they'll probably give Volpe some more runs. So I'm really excited to see what Caballero can do with you know, with a good 2 month leash, it seems like. But
Hmm.
that's what I'm rooting for, man,
Yeah.
is just create some noise. Let's create some pressure on Anthony Volpe.
Yeah. One other position that I think is not talked about as much, but I wanted to get our thoughts and just have a little conversation about it was, and he was the Dominican legend during the WBC, I suppose, with that walk off run rule or that run rule walk off in Austin Wells. But I think it's not being talked about maybe as much as we'd think it would. But Austin Wells for 2025, we know that he had not necessarily a bad year for catchers, but there were just some times where the on base was low. He acted as a bit of a, I think, Tyler, the word that we used was black
Black
hole at
hole, yeah.
times. But
712 OPS, but needed to do
yeah,
better.
he had a, 711 OPS, 71 RBIs, 21 home runs. And I think one of the hopes that I have for this team, and I do really like Austin Wells, but one of the hopes I have is that Austin Wells does play well this year, so we don't have to have a consistent conversation about what are they going to do at catcher. Should Ben Rice be catching some other days? Uh, how are they going to let this shape out if Austin Wells isn't necessarily hitting as consistent as we'd want him to? If there's going to be weeks throughout the year that he's not, he is that black hole that you don't want to
Mm.
have in the lineup on some of these days. So I'm really hoping for Austin Wells to just have a bounce back season, be a bit of get on base more. Uh, Outside of just, I know we like the home runs and we like the extra base hits, but if he can offer a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball, we know he's a good catcher. We know that he's an excellent framer, but I would just like to see Austin Wells perform a little bit better than he did last year, so we're not having that conversation at the catching position because I'm rooting for him. I'd really like to see him do well. So
Yeah, I agree. I do think the Yankees have a good catcher in Austin Wells. Age 26 season. But I think you hit it on the head, Rob. 2024, he was third in Rookie of the Year. People forget about that, but his on base percentage in 115 games in 2024 was 322. Virtually give me that, and I'm pretty happy
yeah,
with kind of where your numbers are going to pan out. You're going to be an above league average hitter, a good framer, a good catcher, and abundantly an above average catcher in totality. So I'm in on Austin Wells. It does still bother me that we have three catchers on the roster and
I
they're
was
all
gonna say,
lefties, but
I
they clearly love Escara for what like
he
I
did
mean,
have some good. He performed well in spring, and I think he earned the position. But yeah,
yeah,
I think that
as he did last year. That was the same dance last year as he earned that backup catcher spot. But it kind of just like when you're such a lefty dominant team,
and then three lefty catchers,
and
that's
then
gonna
and
be a
then
problem.
and then you have three lefty catchers, and then on top of that, the general manager and the manager both said after last season, yeah, I probably shouldn't have two lefty catchers. Like they both said that. And then we're doing the same thing. Not one, not two, three, Rob.
And your lefty catcher, one of those lefty catchers, you want playing first base every day or almost every
Correct.
day, and you
Yep.
don't want him on behind the dish, straining on the knees as much. So, and he's a
Yeah.
bigger guy, so
It felt
yeah,
like there was not a world where Ben Rice was like the actual backup catcher, but then like
that's why I
clearly
need.
they
That's why you need
wanted
Austin Wells
value.
to play well, man.
Yeah.
Because then it's
It's just
like then you're saying, okay, well, Austin Wells is a bit of a black hole. Let's put Rice behind the dish, and then okay, let's have Paul Goldschmidt play first base, and then okay, if Paul Goldschmidt doesn't get off to the start that he had last year, that's a bit of a problem. But
yeah.
uh,
Here's the thing too, is like if to be honest, if they had a backup righty catcher, like just say it was Jose Molina. Um
throwback, baby.
Yeah, let's say it was him. If they had a backup righty catcher that could catch 60, 40 games a year, let's say, and just face tough left-handed pitching, I bet you see Wells's numbers pan out a lot better because he's getting a break against guys that he has a really bad matchup against.
Good point.
Like, do we want Austin Wells facing Garrett Crochet? Probably not. Give it to Jose Molina instead.
Give Jose Molina some new knees and just get him out of retirement.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know, but yeah, I'm all in on Austin Wells. Um, I'm also all in on Escara. It just kind of doesn't. The math ain't mathin' in those moments. So
yeah, he's a nice story, and I do think he's an okay player. I think at
I haven't seen
times he
enough to
was,
even know if he's okay
but
or
he was
not. They talk him up
extreme.
like a motherfucker.
Yeah, he was extremely frustrating to watch last year, and some of the like
Yeah,
catcher interference last year.
yeah,
And
that was bad. Yeah,
you're supposed to be a stud behind the dish. You're supposed to be a reliable catcher, and at times it was very frustrating. So I that is something I don't think is being spoken about nearly enough in Yankee land that may rear its ugly head if Wells doesn't perform. But even still, even if Wells is hitting good, they need to. I think they need a righty bat. They need a righty catcher. But
yeah,
and
kind of what. Yeah,
you made a good point. The catcher or the general manager and the manager
they
are
both
saying
said it,
it and
dude.
they didn't do it. So I okay,
I mean,
whatever.
Cash was kind of in his bag with just like running his mouth this year.
But then he didn't follow it up. So
But then,
whatever.
but then you get the Boone quote that comes out, and he goes, "Well, I think JC's a top half of the league catcher, or whatever, however he said that."
Oh
Um,
God. All right.
I don't know. I hopefully, yeah, just again, not asking for much, just like
Yeah.
a right-handed backup,
Uh, one
Randall Grichuk for a catcher.
one other thing I wanted to ask you about is this bullpen situation and
Mhm.
what we're gonna be seeing from the bullpen. And now we get a full year of David Bednar. We get a full year of Duvall.
Yep.
That's going to be a bigger a bigger thing for the team that they get a full year under their belt as Yankees. That's going to be a good thing to see. But what maybe and it's probably I mean I would say consistently it's the most volatile thing in Yankee land. It hasn't been in our previous years. It hasn't been volatile. We've had more times than not a consistent bullpen, but the last 2 years, not so much. And especially
Yep.
last year, it's been a little bit more glaring. So I think this is also a more under the radar situation that they need to have a good bullpen because last year there were a lot of times where the Yankees got screwed because of the bullpen.
Yep.
Now they don't have Devin Williams anymore. They don't, it's not the days of Clay Holmes blowing saves. So we're hoping David Bednar can be a real rock for them at the back end of the rotation. I was telling you before we got on that for some of the best odds in the AL, David Bednar is working with the best odds for most saves in the American League. So he is going to get opportunities, and I think having that person at the back of the bullpen is going to be big. But the rest of the pen, we're going to see what Fernando Cruz can do again. We're going to see what Duvall can do. Tim Hill has been a studs, and then there's going to be some pieces that we have to talk about. But what are you thinking of the bullpen, man? I think it's going to be a little bit up in the air, but we're going to find out. There's only one way to find out. Play the games, man.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and I think this is just me just trying to understand how the Yankees operate and looking at the body of, the last 8 or 9 seasons virtually. I think that I do truly believe outside of Bednar and Duvall and maybe like a Tim Hill slash Fernando Cruz, I think they have two bullpens every year. I think they have a pre All-Star game, All-Star break bullpen and a post All-Star break bullpen. We saw the post All-Star break bullpen kind of shoot them in the foot last year because Duvall was a mess. Bird was kind of a mess. Luke Weaver stunk it up. Devin Williams actually ended up coming around a little bit, but uh, I'm not going to judge the bullpen as if these guys are going to be part of the solution through 162. I will say I'm confident in Bednar and Duvall. I'm confident in Tim Hill. I'm gonna be honest, like Fernando Cruz kind of scares me because like he's really like a trick pitcher, a trick pitch type of pitcher where he's gonna just gonna wait for you to hopefully swing at that splitter that's not gonna ever be a strike. Um, I am more so waiting to see what it looks like in July. Like, where is Luis Heel? What is
Mhm.
Cade Winquest? What is LeGrand? Because he's like, I think he's everyone's prime candidate to like shove a 103-mile-an-hour dude in the bullpen right now. I think that is a thing. Um, that I don't know. I'm not concerned about the bullpen, but there's minimal depth here in comparison to the outfield and the rest of the team and the rest of the pitching staff is like, okay, so if we're down 5-2 in the fifth, um, who's coming in to pitch? Is that a Jake Bird? Is that a Yarby? Yeah. Paul Blackburn, like that to me doesn't feel like you're actively trying to win a game. So you're looking at like your top four as like, I mean, Bednar and Duvall are only coming in and tying or winning situations. So then you're really like, okay, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Jake Bird. Are those my guys that I'm bringing in when I'm down 2 runs, 1 or 2 runs, trying to win a game against the Sox? Like, I don't know. It's not much of an analyzation by me. This is kind
No,
of me
but
just going off the beaten
I
path.
do think that there's a good there, what the most important thing to take away from that is, well, before you made a good point that they have a pre All Star break bullpen, they have a post All Star break bullpen. Also, that's somewhat in our favor this year, although we have to wait to see the games happen. The
Mhm.
Yankees easily lost close to 10 games thanks to Devin Williams.
Hmm.
Now,
And you could throw another five in Luke Weaver too, to be honest.
so
Three more in Duvall.
if you're saying if you're looking at this bullpen, you got him sitting on the bench and say, just don't do that. And that, hey, we got to see baseball's a weird sport. Don't do that. And if you think that the if the Yankees don't have that happen last year, you could say that they win the division. It's that simple. You say if a few of those games go in the other way, the Yankees win the division. And so it was a glaring problem thanks to some just individual problems. But I think that we're hoping that David Bednar, we're hoping that Duvall, and like you said, the route to which they get to those guys is going to be something that they have to allow to play out. But you're thinking, okay, you subtract some of which is weird because Devin Williams at the start of the year was a head case, and you're thinking, okay, addition by subtraction, you got a clean slate with a lot of these guys. You're saying Duvall, okay, forget about some of the times that you had at the end, in the second half of the season. David Bednar, you were good. That you're looking at Jake Bird. Okay, you sucked last year, but we're gonna hope to stay with a clean slate. Let's see what you can do. And then again, when they get down to July and they get to August, this is going to potentially look like a different bullpen because it ended up happening last year. The guys that we're talking about at the start of the year weren't there until July. They weren't there until August. So yes, you just gotta hope that they have their shit together in some of these early parts of the season, and then that they can build when you get to the summer point of the trade deadline. That's the way I'm looking at it, and you just have to allow stuff to play out. I know a lot of people love the passion of Fernando Cruz, but you make a good point that he can be a gamble sometimes. That he in some of the pitching situations that you get scared with him. So you just have to allow it to play out, and uh, it's going to be a different bullpen by July and August, and then you just got to
Mhm.
get it to that point because we know that Brian Cashman is going to make additions and he's going to make other moves there. So that's the
Like,
way I
what do
look
we
at it.
think? Do we think they're core guys who is like, okay, we're building the bullpen around these guys. I in their Yankee head, I think they look at it and go Bednar, Duvall, Cruz, Tim Hill, and I
Yes,
honestly think they might throw Jake Bird in that mix too.
I agree with that. Yep. Just hope Jake Bird isn't as bad as he was last year.
Yeah, and then they look at Yarborough and Blackburn and go, okay, you guys are our swingmen slash mop up duty guys slash you can slot into the rotation if for whatever need be. And then they look at those top five I just named and go, okay, well, if we can add LeGrand or Luis Heel to that mix and maybe Cade Winquest pans out, now we feel deep. I'm just that's what I think they're thinking is kind
Mm,
of my assumption of it.
yeah.
But
Uh,
also like this is bad to say because he's been nothing but nails, but like, is there a world where the Tim Hill magic dies, kind of like Luke Weaver did? Like,
I'm hoping not, but yeah,
like that's a real thought to have.
it can go quick. It can go quick. There's also they also picked up the dude from Colorado, Angel Chivilli.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name. So there's going to be other ones that we don't think of. I mean, Tim Hill was an afterthought. So
Yeah,
uh, yeah, hopefully the what is it? The magic Cinderella dust doesn't go until midnight. That's what you're hoping with some of these guys. But
yeah, exactly.
we entered last year praising Luke Weaver, and then now
Yeah.
we're like, good riddance, go to
I
Queens.
couldn't. Yeah, I mean, I was so done with him by the end. I was like, I know you're throwing a fastball here, buddy, and everyone's hitting it.
We were spoiled with 42, so
Yeah,
it's not fair.
very.
All right, one other topic, and then we'll preview the Giants Yankees series. We talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to get your opinion on it. There was a lot of noise with Jason being sent down, Spencer Jones performing well. Do you? I'm not sure. I don't think I asked you this question, but do you think there's a world if Trent isn't necessarily up to par with a follow-up season to last year that the noise gets loud enough, or that the Yankees would then make a move to a Jason Dominguez to see what he can do, or do you think that's out of the question?
At all this year?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I think if Trent turns himself, reverts back to pre 2025 for 2+ months, I think the Jason and I'm not like necessarily a believer, but I would love if it worked out. But I think you have to loop Spencer Jones into that discussion as well, especially because Jones actually does play elite defense and probably slots in easier than Dominguez would in terms of fulfilling what Trent provided. But
Hmm.
I do think there's a world. I think they give him 2 months of run minimum.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't think they're worried about him, honestly. I think they believe in the advanced
Hmm.
metrics and they don't give a shit about spring training, which is fair.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's fair until it's not, in my opinion. Um, so I
They're
think
gonna,
there's a world. It's just not immediate. It's
yeah.
not like April 15th.
No, it's happening long into the summer, I believe, if it were to happen, and it would have to be him reverting to pre 2025 and just being a bench level
I think,
bat.
yeah, I think it like literally two things. He has to revert to pre 2025 offensively and grade out as poor as he did last year defensively, which I do not think he'll do again because we know he had a bad hammy all year.
Hmm.
And that's why like I don't like that. I still think he's a good defender, honestly.
Hmm.
But let's to put it into perspective, Rob. They were paying DJ LeMahieu what 15 mil last year, I
Yes,
think. He got
22.
22 games.
Game. I thought you were saying how much Trent was being paid.
Oh, sorry. Let me just hold on. Trying
Oh,
to
you're
find
looking
out
at
how many games
how many
DJ played last year, just for reference of like how much run like he got. I mean,
DJ played 45 games.
there you go. That's almost 2 months of baseball right there. So I think DJ LeMahieu, and then you look at Peraza played 71 games last year. I mean, that is, I think you're looking at that type of sample size, like 70, 60 plus games of you got to be consistently pretty bad. I don't see that happening. I think the easier window of opportunity is um, if someone gets hurt
Hmm. Which
for
we're hoping
Dominguez.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if like, there's a chance like something happens at first base or someone struggles at first base and then like, or something happens at catcher and then Ben Rice is catching and then Belly and Goldie play first and then Dominguez and Jones take Belly's outfield spot. And then you got Dominguez, Trent, Judge. I don't know. It's just me
Then we're getting
playing the
funky.
cards.
Play
Yeah. We're
Judge
just
at
playing the
first
cards here.
base.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah, it's gonna be. We always know Yankee fans like to be irrational online, and
Yeah.
we have our moments. But I think, yeah, I know it's only a 1 year deal, so there's no commitment there, which is a good thing. But I think, especially with the way that Dominguez and Jones perform very well, that's going to be the lasting thing in the brains of Yankee fans. So if Trent is underperforming or just playing as a bench level player, I think that it's just going to be a conversation And we know that the media ends up getting to Boone, and the media, or they end up asking them the questions, and they ask him that, and they pry at it a little bit. So I think
Hmm.
it. But here's the thing:
I just hope Trent isn't hated for no reason this
yeah,
year. They love Trent.
this whole conversation could just be a wash if Trent follows up a season, and
Yeah.
maybe it is, and then we're having talks about bringing him back or whatever. So,
There's also a real
and
chance
then
he like is better than last year. I'm just saying like defensively because
oh,
he didn't grade
defensively,
out
yeah.
well last
I
year.
mean, I my expectation and my guess for him, I don't think he's
Good center
going to
fielder.
I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff. I just don't think he's going to replicate what he did last year. And I think he's going to maybe revert offensively. If he hits like, give me give me like 17 homers, 50 over 50 RBIs, give
I
me
mean,
a
that's falling off a cliff, Rob. That's half of the homers he hit last year.
but and that's the thing. I don't think that's falling off a cliff. And
If he gives us half the production he
if
gave
he's
us last
playing
year,
good, I think it's in the realm of possibilities. But if he plays good defense, then I don't care.
all right,
Then I
that's
don't care
fair.
nearly as much. If he's playing stellar defense and he's if but here's the thing, I was going to pair it with saying if he's getting on base, if he's
Yeah.
not, because the power that he ran into with some of those home runs, and I loved it because he was in very clutch moments. But again, if
Mhm.
you it's not, but what I'm saying is not out of the realm of possibilities, because
No, it's not.
if you look at his career averages, that's not far off from what I'm saying. I think
No, it's not.
the year before, when he was probably getting consistent enough playing time, which was prior to 2024, in 2023, he had 13 home runs and 50 RBIs. And he had a 198 average. I'm going to hope that and he had a 315 on base. So I'm going to hope he has a better average, gets on base more. But I think that if I had to put some guesstimations on it, I would say if you're getting to close to 20 home runs, maybe 60 RBIs, I think I can live with that. So I'm not bought in on he's going to have a 30 homer season. That's my prediction. Maybe
Former.
I'll be happy to get egg on my face if that's true. So
Well, yeah. Anytime I am assuming a player will be worse than what I would love them to be, I would prefer the egg on my face.
yeah,
Um, Former top prospect Trent Grisham. I don't know, man. I see. This is where I'm just getting too much into the weeds. I'm just on Statcast. I'm like, well, he's got a lot of red on this page. um, Listen, he could revert back. I'd like to think the on base percentage with the at bats I saw him have in high leverage moments, I would like to think the on base should stay. He had a very good year in terms of his OBP last year at 348. So I'd like to believe that will stay. I can see the homers taking a dip. If he gave me 22, 23 homers, I mean, he is the reason why I don't think they're going to dip crazy is because he only pulls baseballs and he plays in
Yankee
Yankee
Stadium.
Stadium. So like he literally only pulls baseballs. And his splits are clear too. He's really good against righties, and I think he's got like a 610 OPS against lefties or something. So if I had to guess, I think you're looking at good defense, and I would expect the production to like if it's not an 811 OPS, I think you'll find him 750 or higher.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And
um,
that's a major leaguer that's allowed to be on the roster, and we're not going to be complaining about. So
correct. Yep, I'm with you there. So,
yeah.
so we'll
That's what I
see. It's up to Trent. It's a walk year for him too. He wants to get paid again. He wants to get an actual,
yeah.
an actual little long term bag.
Yeah. I just
Three,
think the
four
numbers,
years.
my prediction is I think the numbers will dip from what they were last year, but I
I
think
can get
that he
behind
could
that.
still be a 770 OPS level player. And if that's the case and he's playing good defense, then he's going to have a spot on the roster, and Dominguez probably won't come
Yeah.
up.
I also
Uh,
think people are going to pitch Trent Grisham differently than they did last year because last year Trent Grisham was
very,
like, okay, whatever, it's Trent Grisham. Now it's like, okay, this guy did hit 35 homers last
we got
year.
to watch out for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the preview of the Giants versus the Yankees at San Francisco at Oracle Park. Beautiful park out there. Highly recommend anyone that's thinking about making the trip. Um, Bars close at like 11:30 though, so if you're looking to get after it afterwards, keep that in mind. Uh, for opening day, the Yankees announced Max Fried as their starter. He's going to be going up against Logan Webb. That game is on Netflix, so subscribe to Netflix if you don't have it, or start a free trial. I don't know if they do free trials actually. Then it's a little funky, Tyler. On Friday, our local time would be 4:35 start, and then Saturday is a Fox game at 7:15. So what? As of now, I'm looking at the ESPN lineup of who's officially announced. So first game, it's going to be Freed versus Logan Webb. Then for the Yankees, they'll have Schlittler pitch on Friday. Saturday is going to be Will Warren. On the depth chart, you still have Robbie Ray and Tyler Mal for the Giants. So you're assuming that they'll be matching up with Schlittler and Warren, and then Ryan Weathers is going to get his first start against Seattle the following Monday. So that's going to be our time to see Ryan Weathers first off. But we opened up with it that the Giants are definitely a solid team. They have some good players. They got Rafael Devers there for a full year. You got Harrison Bader signed with them. Willie Adames, Logan Webb is a really solid pitcher. Matt Chapman there. Um, Also mentioned Luis Arias and Jung Hoo Lee. So I mean, I would say, Tyler, that the Giants have some players, man. So there's
Hmm.
no pushover series, and we know you're not gonna lose the
They weren't
division.
like bad last year.
They were bad, but I think they've made some good additions on the team.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, Buster
and
Posey running the show.
yeah, exactly. Now Buster Posey is running the show. I think you're not going to lose the division from opening day, but we want to get all the quality wins you can get. I mean, we always end up looking back, like especially last year, that these wins do count. These wins do matter, even as earlier on as they are in the season. I mean, you think about it last year of over a tiebreaker with the Blue Jays. These every game now from now on, it's no more WBC, it's no more spring training games. You got to win these games. So I'm very excited, and Aaron Judge is returning to his hometown team or the team that he rooted for growing up. And last time I was out there and they were out there, he performed extremely well in that ballpark. It's a pitcher's park, but I think I'm pumped up for this matchup. I think it's a good one to open up the season for.
Yeah, it is, and it's cool. It's a standalone game, on Netflix, as you said. I don't think they're a pushover at all. I'm not going to be sounding the alarm if,
Nah.
God forbid they lose or anything like that. Like you said, I mean, you can lose the division in April, but you're not going to lose it in one or two games. It's more of a
Yeah.
collection of decisions you're making throughout, which I do hope the Yankees, if there's one thing again, Boone and Cashman both said this year as well, was we kind of need to make decisions faster. Like, don't let DJ Ra at second and Jazz play at third and Peraza play 71 games and those things.
Hmm.
Um, so I think the Giants are a good team. Um, I think they're well run. One of those organizations that I feel like always should be in like the 86 plus win mix. Um, but I got the Yanks, Rob.
I would expect nothing less. I would expect nothing less. But so last year the Giants had an 81 and 81 season, so finished 500. Obviously, their division with the Dodgers and Padres is very challenging, and Diamondbacks here and there will make some noise too in the NL West. But I wanted to pull up this too. I mean, Aaron Judge against the San Francisco Giants in his career, talking about him playing against his hometown team. Batting
Arson,
average
baby.
484 with 15 hits, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, 11 runs scored. So if you're looking for some maybe sprinkling action on this series, and we know Judge is maybe motivated from the noise that came from the WBC that we'll talk about, is maybe Aaron Judge is going to play pretty well against the Giants. I would have a
Yeah.
hunch that he's going to do
Camilo
pretty well.
Duvall's ex team too.
So, and his entrance that they had for him. I don't know if you've ever seen that video of when they like shut the lights down and Duvall would come in. It was pretty electric. So that it'll
Yeah.
be his first return back. Or wasn't it last year? No, a couple years ago. I think I attended their series when they were at the stadium. So I also really enjoy watching Logan Webb pitch because Logan Webb also pitched for the WBC team last year. Had a 3.22 ERA, 224 strikeouts total of 15 and 11 record. I think he's a better pitcher than maybe the league gives him credit for. I think
Yeah, he's like a top of the league pitcher, dude.
yeah, I think so. He that opening game of him versus Freed is just baseball heaven.
Money. Yep. Perfect way to stand. I love that standalone, honestly. Um, Tyler Fitzgerald. I forgot. He was like supposed to be like a nasty.
Do you think what's your prediction maybe? I think this was a good one. What's your prediction for the maybe opening day lineup and then what do you think like the Yankees kind of do throughout the rest
The
of the weekend?
the Yankees opening day lineup. Oh, this is where I'm gonna mess up, Rob. All right, I'm gonna do this without looking at anything because I've been out of touch with spring outside of just like keeping up with the news. It's gonna be Trent. It's gonna be Judge Belly,
Okay.
S- S- uh, Stanton, Rice, Jazz,
Okay.
Wells. Wait, Jazz. So Cabby, Wells, McMahon,
You could probably go
or
back
whatever
and
you want
forth.
to do with the
Yeah,
bottom
you could
three.
probably go back and forth because you got a jumble of lefties after Jazz. You could probably say like
Yeah.
if you want to do Cabby at 7 or then Wells at 7, I think. But I'm right on the same wavelength there. I think that's exactly what they're gonna do.
I love that
Uh,
we actually know what the lineup it looks like now. Remember, it was like a year and a half where we just like, oh, I don't know what the fucking lineup's gonna be
yeah,
today.
you go okay. I don't. Well, yeah, that's when a lot of other positions were just.
Yeah, Glaber might bat first or fifth.
I will say, coming into an opening day where we know our left fielder
That's cool too. That's
is
cool.
is pretty
And
cool.
it ain't Clint Frazier.
And it's not Clint Frazier, and it's not any mystery there. So I think it's gonna be a good opening series, and I'm
The
I'm
run
pumped
it
to
back
watch
Yankees, Rob. The
the
run
run
it
it
back
back
Yankees.
Yankees. I do think there's something maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that for the run it back Yankees and starting this series against the Giants that there's going to be a level of hunger for what happened that you do have an identical team. You do have everyone back.
And
With
there's no Peraza, DJ, or
yeah.
Yorby
And you
Vivas.
add in Ryan Weathers. So
Yeah.
I do think there may be a level of hunger that, hey guys, all right,
Duvall,
we did
Bednar.
this last year. Let's go into a new season. Let's go do this. Let's go prove some haters wrong. But then of course, on the flip side, you have did they not improve enough? Did they not do what they
Yeah.
could have to separate themselves in the division, separate themselves from the Toronto Blue Jays? And I guess that's also a conversation we can go into there about where they will finish in this division. The question I had for you is where they won 100 or when they won 94 total wins last year, do you think they'll exceed or come in below the 94 wins? Or maybe
I
just exactly at 94 wins?
I believe so you're putting the over under at 93 and a half.
Yes.
That's like Vegas right there, I think, right? That's got to be close to
It's
that.
probably
Or
some
90
some
and a
books
half,
are a little
91,
different, but
92. Um, it's just I'm just thinking too much. The AL East got better, so I wouldn't be surprised if they came in a couple wins shallow. I also would not be surprised if they're a 100-win team because I think they were extremely capable of that last year. They just let DJ, Jorby Vivas, Jazz play third, and Oswaldo Peraza dictate part of their year, and they had a June swoon, which I think they can avoid because they came out and said we need to make decisions faster that are hurting our team. So I hope they do that this year. So does that answer it?
let's
I
run
think
it.
that
Let's run it back and see if they can make these corrections. No,
yeah.
I agree. I think that they are people that would, and this is barring health, and they need everyone to stay on the field and Judge play a full season, and we'll see if Stanton can play over the 77 games. But I agree with you. I think that the division got better, so I would not be surprised if they fell below the 93 and a half.
Like
Uh,
specifically Baltimore is
Yeah,
not going to be as
Baltimore
bad.
got better. I think the Red Sox are still a good team.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Blue Jays are going to be a quality team. So to think that they would fall below their win total from last year is not that surprising. But then again, we don't know. Baseball's weird. Injuries can happen within the division, and then they could also make corrections from what they did last year, and they can also win more games. So
Yeah.
that's one bet that I'm not making this year. I'm
And you
not.
just
I
don't have Devin Williams on your team.
Yeah, you don't have Devin Williams blowing 10 to 11 games this year for you. So
Like we could have had the June swoon and just not had Devin Williams, and we still would have won 100 games.
they would have won the
Isn't that
division.
crazy? And I do. This is could just be my absolute hate for Toronto, and I'll never be in on them, no matter how good they are. And I'll always talk shit about them. I genuinely don't think they're a better team than they were last year. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll see.
You lose
I'm
Bo Bichette and sign Dylan Cease to an unbelievable contract that arguably I don't think he deserved. Is Barger and Clement going to do the same thing? Is Springer going to be an MVP vote getter again? I don't think so. How about that? Springer's done. He's 36. Get out of here.
all
Brittany
right.
Clement's a 5 WAR player.
I think for me, I think the surprise team in the division can be the Orioles, and I think the Red
Correct.
Sox will be good.
Yep.
But again, with what the Blue Jay, I don't
I just want to see
discount what you're
Toronto
saying. That I
crash and
think that
burn.
Toronto went from fifth place to first place, and so they've had volatile seasons like that. And yes, I could see them falling from grace, but also being a consistent enough team. It's just from year to year, they're not. They don't
It'll be
instill the most
interesting.
amount of confidence or even the most fear in me. I'm not going to take them as
No, I'm just talking shit. But what I do
I
believe what I said for the most part, though I love Ernie Clement.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, Austin Wells had, the same OPS you did. Are we relying on you now? I don't know. And then they signed the what's his face? Akamoto or Yakamoto. What's his last name? Third baseman.
Akamoto.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Are we just like saying that replaces Bo Bichette? Like that's stupid in my head if
That's
that's
the
what
most
you're
hits in
telling.
baseball that you're trying to
And
replace.
then they did get what is it, Cody Ponce or the pitcher? If I'm saying if that's the correct first name. Um, I don't know. Are we just acting like that replaces like Bassett? Like and is Scherzer on the team? I don't even know. Um,
Yeah, he's
I,
back.
I don't know. They got question marks too. I'm not looking at like Vlad's sick postseason run and going, oh yeah, they're good. Um, I don't know. Whatever. Interesting.
Um,
I don't think George Springer's like going to repeat what he did.
with some of the other preseason odds, as of now, collectively on some sports books, looking at bettingpros.com, Max Fried right now, fifth best odds overall from the combined odds for Cy Young. If you want to sprinkle on that, I don't know. There's a lot of tough competition in the AL this year with Scooble on a contract year. Crochet is pretty good, but I think Max Fried getting Cy Young votes is not out of the realm of possibilities.
Mhm.
Aaron Judge also best AL MVP odds this year on from Betting Pros. I think the combined odds. You look at plus 250 for Aaron Judge. I think some books have him. Let me just double check if my computer will load. Probably not. Do do do. Like DraftKings. Let's see what DraftKings has.
Fangraphs
DraftKings.
has 3 to 3. Look at that.
Yeah. So I mean, some of these are plus 215. I mean, you get plus money. Anything you get plus money on Judge for MVP would be pretty good. I also mentioned earlier that David Bednar has the best odds for most AL saves right now. So if you want to go sprinkle on that, that's also not a bad thing. So last, we'll cap off with Tyler's favorite subject, the WBC. Um, and did
Which
you?
I did not watch much of,
I
but
know
I
you're
did
out in
follow.
this.
I did follow though.
You were out in Switzerland, so you weren't as tapped in. But the big thing was Judge and the conversation and the narrative being furthered. Unfortunately, I texted you as a joke. I was like, I wish he didn't play in this just so we don't have to deal with this BS
Well,
conversation.
yeah, I've been listening to the radio since all the pods I had to catch up on the way home and stuff, and it's just sad, like how people just want to hate Aaron Judge.
Yeah. And so
The team had three
basically
hits.
the stats that we saw from Judge in the totality of the WBC in that last game, which the championship game was undeniably not a good time for Aaron Judge. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. I got pretty frustrated with it. I think the sixth inning at bat, that's when I texted you because he had a 3-1 fastball, kind of middle, and had the opportunity to swing the bat. And I think he was surprised that he
Sat
threw
on
it
it.
to him and just sat on it. Through the three elimination games, so post pool play, went 2 for 11, 182 average with six strikeouts. In pool play, he went 4 for 16, two home runs, a double, five walks, 5 runs, four RBIs, and two strikeouts. Also of note, he played very good defense in this WBC. Had a couple thrown out runners on the bases, making some highlights there. But my takeaway is just I think it was another platform that, of course, if I sort of said it last episode that it was a bit of a lose-lose situation for him. If he comes through, it's like, oh, well, you got to do that for your team later in October, but you can't do it. And then the other flip side was what happened in this game, which was not encouraging. I don't like it to happen. I'm a fan of the WBC. I'm a fan of Team USA. I wanted him to come through, and it's a little bit of a gut punch in a way that it could be before meaningful Yankees baseball. So it wasn't the best, but I'm not going to lose my mind over it. But I was thinking about this, Tyler, that the more time that goes on with it, the more I just compare this situation for Aaron Judge and his playoff success and his I don't know if you want to lump in this because you can't really with the playoff success, but the more time that goes on, I just compare this Aaron Judge playoff clutch experience or conversation to the A-Rod journey.
Yeah.
That's
And
really how I look at it.
he's just kind of going to get hate until he carries us to one
Hmm.
virtually. It's just like, I don't understand the universe. I mean, I guess I understand it because he's like a New York Yankee, but it's like, I hate to see the big names that just kind of exclusively shit on Aaron Judge. Like
Yeah.
when, again, the team had 3 hits and Bryce Harper had 2 of them. I don't understand. Did Mike Trout catch this much smoke when he struck out against Otani in 2020, whatever?
No,
Like, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. I think
And Judge like the nicest guy.
yeah, I think that it's I get both sides of the coin a little bit. I think being outwardly as critical as some of the obnoxious fans on Twitter are, I'm not going to do that. But I will admit that I do get frustrated with him at times in clutch moments. But I do
Mhm.
respect also that I'm not sitting here saying that Aaron Judge hasn't had playoff moments, that he hasn't had production in the playoffs. I'm not sitting here saying that, but also on the flip side, like I said, there are some big moments where and I'm sure you would even admit that there's times where I'm like, dude, really? Like, you couldn't, like, that is the time where you could shut up a lot of people. And coming
Yeah.
off the heels of his playoff performance against Toronto, where he hits the home run off the foul pole, like, that was a cool moment. Unfortunately, what's going to be remembered is that they lost that series. So, going back to the comparison, that I truly believe that it's a lot, the Aaron Judge situation and his postseason clutch success is going to be regarded or thought of a lot like the A-Rod situation. So I pulled up some numbers. I'm going to just do like comparison. Judge has a little larger of a sample size, right? Judge has 65 games played in the playoffs, 246 plate appearances, 17 home runs, 41 RBIs, 25 extra base hits, a 236 average, a 346 on base, a 476 slug, and an 822 OPS. Alex Rodriguez, pre 2009, 39 games, 170 at bats, 7 home runs, 17 RBIs, 16 extra base hits, 279 average, a 373 on base percentage, a 483 slug, and an 856 OPS. So Tyler, when you listen to those numbers, you're like, that's pretty good playoff production. Like
Hmm.
that's nothing to disregard. That's not anything that you would think is bad production. But like A-Rod, and A-Rod came with a lot more baggage in comparison to Aaron Judge with his whole
Hmm. And the
fiasco with
contract was
steroids,
hated at that time and
the
all that.
contract. So A-Rod had a lot more factors, I would argue, going against him than Judge simply does because of they're looking for him to come in, looking for Judge to come through in big playoff moments where A-Rod was working against the contract debate, he was working against the steroid debate, all of that. And much like A-Rod, the time for Aaron Judge to just the only way that he's gonna shut people up is if he comes through in clutch moments and wins that championship, especially when you play for the Yankees. And you said it completely correct. People are not only going to, just because they want to hate on the Yankees, they're going to have that conversation. But then again, like, to live up to the level of the pinstripes, and it fair or not, that's the way Aaron Judge is going to have to do it. And
Yep.
it's the same thing that A-Rod went through, and Judge is going to have to do the same thing. And he's going to have to just get the monkey off his back. He's going to have his moment. And I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a big Aaron Judge fan. I want him to come through, man.
Just need
That's
him to win a ring, dude.
really, and that's the only way it's going to stop. That's the only way that, and I give people credit online that are going back at others that are hating. I'm probably not going to waste my breath, because obviously the only way that it's going to happen is if Judge wins, and that's like the legs that you're going to have to stand on. I think it's people go way too far with the egregious takes that they'll say against Aaron Judge. I do think that's totally valid, like you said, but there are times where I'm a little frustrated with the guy. I will admit.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely times, but then part of me is also like unbelievable success in baseball is when you get a hit 33% of the time. So like, I don't know, he
It's a
also had
cruel
that sick
game.
homer off Class A that was going to send us to the World Series before they blew that game. And that was a clutch homer no one's ever going to talk about,
Yeah.
so yeah, at some points it seems like he's like guessing too much up there in the big moments, but I think you're right. I don't think anything matters for him or Cole until both of them have a ring.
I think Aaron Judge is in desperate need of a la Alex Rodriguez 2009 run. He really
Yeah.
is. And once that,
Could have had it last year if the pitching held together.
I'm hoping he has one, because that's the way he's going to get the haters off his back, and that's how he's going to cement himself as a Yankee great,
Yeah.
undoubtedly. Like, once if he has a 2009 A-Rod run, that's where we immediately put him in the up. And
Top of
he's
the top.
already, yeah, he's at the, once he does that, he would be at the top of the top. I know people want to put him top 10, but it's tough because there's a lot of Yankee greats, but
It
I don't
sucks
know.
that he falls in like the DiMaggio comparison.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want.
Yeah.
I'm rooting. Just get this guy a ring.
I
Just get him a
can't
ring.
watch sad TikToks again this year.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Aaron Judge needs a ring.
yeah. I agree.
We don't
Um,
deserve him.
So that's all the conversation we have for today. Opening day is tomorrow. We really appreciate everyone for joining us. That is episode 236 of the Four Train Savages podcast. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment of what you thought of the conversation, what you think of the Yankees. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate everyone for listening. Let's go start this season on a good note, and we'll move from San Francisco to Seattle and then back to the Yankee Stadium, man. April,
Boogie down.
I think it's April 3rd or something, around Easter weekend. So go win this series, Yankees. Appreciate everyone for listening. We'll catch you at 2:37. Peace.